right? Fire horse. So it really parallels very, very closely what a 1 vibration is, because it's new things, but mostly it's like the momentum of things is going to pick up. It's going to, we're going to start galloping, through this year. But it also brings, like new beginnings and new starts, and the energy and the courage to do it. Sometimes we maybe have wanted, been wanting to start some new thing in our life, and we just, never quite muster up the courage and the moxie to make it happen. Well, this year things are going to happen because we're just going to feel it. Almost like an urgency to get things moving in your life, even if we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Just call it forth. The universe knows what it wants you to do, and it'll drop it right in your lap, because we're at such a place. Humanity is at such a place in humanity's evolution. We are truly in the ascension corridor, is what a phrase I heard from. This is a very interesting person I started following on YouTube. Her name is Vivian Chevet. She lives in Sedona. We have to look her up when we're there. I tried to find her anyway. She is, a renowned, she speaks and she's a healer and everything, but she is a Arcturian hybrid, and not a starseed, not she was an Arcturian in another life, but she is literally an Arcturian who they engineered and created a human body for, so that she could come into this incarnation, and she's a very highly evolved being, because the Arcturians are of the extraterrestrials. They are probably like the creme de la creme of them. They're like the highly intelligent and a lot with technologies and things like that, but very, very evolved. And so she literally volunteered to come and help humanity ascend. And so that is her purpose. Back to what she is saying is that we are in the ascension corridor now. There is, this is the time when we really start to awaken. So that's another big thing that's going to be happening in this this fire horse year, is that there's going to be people really awakening. And again, those of us who've been teachers and been healers and psychics and all the things that we've been are really feeling that call now to really, get into our highest mission and really start awakening. Our job is to awaken others. If you're awake, you wake somebody else up. So, again, Ascension Corridor is what I want you to think about. We have entered it. By the end of 3 years, we're going to see a difference in this planet. We're going to see a difference in this planet this year. But what we're going to see this year is sort of the clearing. Let's call it. Things are going to clear. So things are going to be rising to the surface too. The things that have been hidden for a long time are going to be, the truth about things is going to be revealed, but then cleared. So our job, our most important job as the light workers, awakened people on the planet, is to hold the higher frequencies, not to be drawn into, because it's so easy to, terrible things are happening now. People being murdered in the streets, and I mean, it's horrible. But our job is to hold, the higher frequencies. And that's the other thing. We are moving into our higher selves. We are, we're moving out of ego. That's the other thing. The ego has created separation. It's separated us from the higher principles of living. It brought us down to worrying about money and, sex and, just all the lower frequency things. That's all important. We've forgotten that, we're supposed to be loving each other, caring about each other, building a world of harmony and peace, all the things that all the great masters have talked about. Christ talked about it, Buddha talked about it, even Muhammad talked about it. All the great teachers that have come have been giving this message, and we're moving into the age of Aquarius. Actually, again, we're in the age of Aquarius. That happened when the planet Pluto went into Aquarius. And that's been within about a year or so that it fully moved in and is staying there now. And Pluto is about transformation. And it's also about power. And the sign of Aquarius is about humanity, the brotherhood of man. And so Pluto in that sign is like power. One of the words for Pluto is power. Aquarius is humanity. So it's power to the people now. And we're seeing that. We're seeing the people rise up. If we can't expect it to just all of a sudden we're going to be, in the land of Oz. We've got a lot of clearing to do. But we are seeing that rising up now of humanity. We're drawing together. We're coming together and supporting each other. And that's very important for us to do. Like tonight, it's a good night. We're here together. We're friends. We've been growing together spiritually, and we're here to support each other and create a better world. And just for reference, of course, the planets move in cycles. So the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, guess what was happening? The French Revolution.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they always say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And so again, there was a huge revolution. The people rose up and said,
enough's enough.
Yeah, enough's enough. Yeah. The Aquarian time is part of what they call the precession of the equinoxes, and it's the shift from one sign to another. So we left the Pisces era, which was the Christ era, the fish, and the compassion and all those things, and now we're moving into this more activist. That's the other thing. Aquarius is a sign of activism. We come together in groups and stand up for causes and things like that, and are rising up, and that's only going to continue because Pluto stays in a sign for a long time, so it's going to be in Aquarius for 20 years. So this transformation, 20 years. Well, it's way out, Pluto's our farthest out planet, so it takes a while to make its revolution, through a sign. But it's just begun, and we're seeing it. And the other thing that Aquarius is also related to technology. And so the transformation in technology, here we are, AI. And whether we like it or not, that's coming in. And it can be good, we have to be responsible with it though. That's the most important thing. We can't use it, and we will. So that's something I want to caution you. Be careful with this AI stuff. It's the illusion, the total illusions it's creating, things that aren't the truth, so you have to be very careful what you're tapping into. Use your discernment, use your psychic ability. What I get my discernment, my truth meter is in my solar plexus. So pay attention to these things, because we're coming into a time where we need to be using all of our senses. That will be awakening. That's the other thing that's going to be happening in this ascension corridor and in this time, is all our psychic abilities that we lost when we were in Atlantis. When we were Atlantis, we rose to a very high level of ability. you know, and psychic abilities and everything. We really were at one with our higher selves. And then, of course, there was the fall. That's what the term in the Bible came from. The fall was our fall in consciousness during Atlantis. And so we became separated from our higher selves. And then, you know, the ego took over. And the ego just wants to do whatever there is to do down here, you know, in the material world. And so so now we're making that reconnection to our higher selves. So, okay, and again, Pluto in Aquarius is one of the big energies. I would say if you would think of the world as a stage, and we're all actors playing our parts, the backdrop of the stage is Pluto in Aquarius, the transformation of humanity. Our sun is in a, I think they say it's an 11-year cycle of very, very high activity. Mm-hmm. And so there's, and let me tell you someone to follow on YouTube. His name's Stephen Burns. He's a astrophysicist, cute guy too. He's nice looking. And he's very smart, super smart, and he's very metaphysical. He brings together the metaphysical and the physical science. And he'll be talking about, that, you know, this solar flare is coming, or this something on the sun is coming and hitting Earth, and these things create the earthquakes and the tsunamis. I mean, they're really science is really seeing the relationship between this higher activity on the sun. But he'll even say and Mercury's retrograde, and so, you know, he brings in, or there's a full moon. He'll often talk about the moon, if the moon's full, because, you know, that affects the tides. Mm-hmm. And so he'll say, you know, there's a good chance that with the solar flare and then the full moon, he said we could have a tsunami, and, you know, so he's very dialed in. I should get his chart. I bet he is an Aquarius, because he's very progressive and very scientific, but also very metaphysical too. Stephen Burns. He's followed now by about 1 million people, so you know he's good. People are listening to him. So yeah, he's one of the people I listen to. But that's the other thing that's happened. Our you know, as far as like our the ascension corridor and the ascension cycle, I don't think that's a mistake, that the sun at this exact time is going through this very elevated time of activity, you know, and affecting the earth in such a powerful way. I would say we're probably maybe in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that, 11 years and everything's going to be fine. It's just that it's at its peak. Mm-hmm. You know, it's still, you know, going to be, you know, very, very active. Well, so now we're going to start talking about the planets. I did talk about Pluto. The other planet that's going to be kind of linking up with, you know, the planets, what can I say, talk to each other in certain ways. They get into a certain geometric pattern and relationship to each other. And some of them are very positive, and good things happen when they come together. And there is a very good arrangement between the planet Uranus and the planet Pluto. Now, right now, Uranus is still in the very last degrees of Taurus, but it's going to be soon. I wish I would remember. I think it's sometime in May. It's going to be moving into Gemini. So now it's going to be still in trine, which is a very flowing, very positive, very creative energy to Pluto. Now guess when this aspect was happening? During the Renaissance. Mm-hmm. So it brought, you know, because Uranus is about innovation and it's brilliance. It's like genius. So look who was born and operating during the Renaissance. Yeah, there was Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and I don't know, all these great minds were incarnated at that time, and there was great scientific change and a great art revolution. And so we're going to see that in these times. And so we're going to see medical breakthroughs. You know, we're going to see one of the things Another person I follow on YouTube is a guy by the name of Sterling. His name's Sterling the Psychic Medium, and he's pretty good. And he's saying that this is going to be a time when. Have you ever heard of CRISPR technology? It's like a gene replacement thing. I mean, that's gonna like really become used now in medicine to heal like some of the chronic conditions, diabetes and multiple sclerosis and things that have plagued people, and they now are going to be able to transform their lives with this gene therapy and change the structure of their genes so that their bodies are not
Can heal themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of healing yourself, Uranus also rules the esoteric arts, so healing and astrology and tarot and everything. It's going to become the prevailing way that people think and operate. So, and this trine is going to be going on for quite a few years because both those planets are slow moving, and so they will be in this relationship for, I think, 5 to 7 years. We're going to have this Renaissance period going on now. So that's some really good news that we will be having all these breakthroughs. And the other thing is, Uranus also rules because it's the unusual, it's the unique, it's the different, it's the out of the box stuff. So it rules extraterrestrials. So one of the things, and Sterling said this, is that we are definitely going to have, the governments are going to start to say, yes, we do have, this disclosure is going to happen. Even the Catholic Church, this new Pope, who is a American boy, is going to disclose some of the knowledge that the Catholic Church has. So again, with Pluto bubbling things up from beneath the surface, we're going to be learning about all these things that have been kept from us. You see what I mean? We are going to be, our way of life, the prevailing way that people think, is no longer going to be able to hide their head in the sand and say, oh, I don't believe there's any I don't believe there's anybody from other planets. How anybody at this point in the understanding of the universe can think that of all the trillions of stars and planets and things that we're the only thing with life on it. It's just beyond me. Yeah, let me see. So we're also, like I said, and okay, the other thing that the Arcturian woman, Vivian Chabet, says is that the Arcturians are looking for and watching us, for they're friendly, totally here to help us evolve, but they're looking for those that they can reach and talk to and channel and help, help the person that they reach to help others, and so it's possible they could come to us. We could maybe see them in our dreams, maybe in meditation. If you're a meditator, maybe they'll come to you in meditation, but they may reach out to those of us who are open to it, but definitely going to be sightings, sightings of ships that are undeniable. I actually saw a ship. I did when I lived out in Seattle, Washington. This was years ago, too. This was in the 80s. There's lots of mountains, and they hang around mountains. And so my roommate and I, there was like this buzz going on. Hey, there's some ship. They've been seeing ships out there. It was a place called Shilsho Bay, where there was mountains and everything. It was a real beautiful spot. So we said, let's go and see. And so we went out and parked in this spot. And there were other people there too, spaceship. and we're sitting there, And some people left, you know, because it was getting late, and they said, oh, let's just hang out a little bit longer. And sure enough, in the distance, I started to see this red light moving around, and it was moving, and it was, number one, it was silent. There was no sound. You didn't hear engines or anything. And it was not that high. I would say, I don't know, it's hard to judge, but maybe 500 feet above us. You know, as it moved in, it kept coming. I said, ooh, what is this? It got a little creepy, but I said, oh, let's stay and see what this is. And what else was, oh, well, when it went over us, it was a disc, and it had those, you know how you see the revolving lights under it?
Yeah.
All that.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was just, oh, yeah, and then it just went on silently. You didn't hear anything.